Today's story is the Wobbly Wand of Wanda the Witch. Once upon a time, nestled deep within the whimsical woods, there was a forest that giggled with every breeze and hummed with the rustle of magical leaves. It was a place where the trees had faces and the mushrooms danced jigs at dawn. In this enchanted forest lived a young witch named Wanda, who was as talented as she was clumsy. Wanda had a talent for magic, but her spells often went awry in the most unexpected and hilarious ways. She lived in a cozy little cottage perched on the back of a giant tortoise named Tilly. Tilly was the slowest, but also the wisest creature in the forest, and she had a fondness for Wanda despite her magical mishaps. Chapter 1. A Wand with a Mind of Its Own. One sunny morning, Wanda woke up to the sound of Tilly yawning, a sound much like the creaking of an ancient door. Today was a special day. It was the annual Magical Mishap Fair, where witches and wizards from all around would gather to share their funniest magical blunders. Wanda was determined to win the grand prize, a sparkling new cauldron that never overflowed. But first, she needed to make sure her wand was in good shape. Her wand, however, had other ideas. It was a peculiar wand, made from the branch of a particularly mischievous tree. It was known to have a mind of its own, often casting spells all on its own. As Wanda waved her wand to tidy up her cottage, it suddenly began to sputter and shake. With a loud bim, it turned her breakfast toast into a pair of tap-dancing slippers that pranced across the floor. "Oh, not again!" Wanda giggled, chasing after the slippers, which were now performing a rather impressive soft shoe routine. Tilly, watching from her spot by the window, chuckled, her ancient eyes twinkling with amusement. With a flick of her wrist, Wanda managed to catch the slippers and with a quick spell, turned them back into toast, albeit slightly burnt now. "You'll have to behave today." Wanda scolded her wand gently, which vibrated in response, as if snickering. After a quick breakfast and a ride on Tilly's back through the bustling forest, Wanda arrived at the Magical Mishap Fair. The fair was alive with laughter and the sound of spells going awry. There were witches accidentally turning themselves into frogs, wizards whose hats had grown too large, and even a dragon with hiccups that ignited tiny bursts of fireworks each time it hiccuped. Chapter 2. The Great Magical Mishap Contest. Wanda signed up for the contest with high hopes. Her plan was to perform a spell that would create a fireworks display of dancing butterflies. It was a tricky spell, but Wanda was confident she could pull it off, if her wand cooperated. As her turn approached, Wanda felt a flutter of nerves. She took a deep breath, stepped onto the stage, and waved her wand with determination. But just as she began the incantation, her wand gave a sudden jolt and sent out a shower of sparkles that turned the judges' robes into a bright, polka-dotted pajama set. The crowd burst into laughter, and even the judge, a stern-looking wizard with a long beard, couldn't help but chuckle. Wanda blushed furiously but couldn't help grinning as well. Trying to regain her composure, Wanda attempted the spell once more. This time, her wand shot out a stream of bubbles that filled the air. They floated around, popping with little squeaks that sounded like giggles. As the bubbles burst, they transformed into tiny, fluffy sheep that began to baa and bounce around the stage. The audience erupted into laughter, tears streaming down their faces at the sight of the tiny sheep, one of which had taken a liking to the judge's beard and was now trying to nestle in it. Even though her spell didn't go as planned, Wanda's performance was the highlight of the day. The judge, after managing to remove the sheep from his beard, awarded Wanda the prize for the funniest magical mishap, much to her delight. Chapter 3. A Lesson in Laughter. As the fair came to a close, Wanda, with her new cauldron in hand, returned home on Tilly's back. She couldn't stop smiling. Her heart felt as light as the bubbles she had conjured. "See, it's not always about getting things perfect," Tilly said in her slow, wise voice. "Sometimes the best magic is in the laughter it brings." Wanda nodded, understanding that her magical blunders were not something to be embarrassed about but to be celebrated. They made people smile, and that was a magic all its own. She looked at her wand, which wiggled slightly as if agreeing with Tilly's words. Back in her cottage, Wanda placed her new cauldron on the table and began to prepare a celebratory feast. With a wave of her wand, the room filled with the delicious aroma of pumpkin stew and freshly baked bread. This time, the wand behaved itself, as if satisfied with the day's events. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the whimsical woods, Wanda sat with Tilly outside her cottage. They watched as the trees swayed gently and the mushrooms started their evening dance. "I think today was the most magical day of all," Wanda said, hugging her wand. "Even if things didn't go exactly as planned." And with a laugh that echoed through the forest and a heart full of joy, Wanda knew that every magical mishap was just another chapter in her wonderfully wobbly, whimsical world. And so, in the enchanted forest, where anything was possible and laughter was the best magic of all, Wanda the Witch found her place as the most wonderfully wobbly witch of them all.